Welcome. I want to welcome all the families who are here this evening from Packer and St. Anne's and Berkeley Carroll and Brooklyn Friends. And I'm Neela Fortune of Packer Collegiate, and we're very happy to have all of you here with us tonight to learn more about the study of engineering in college. We are very fortunate to have here with us tonight representatives from 6 different institutions. And so you will be hearing from folks from University of Wisconsin, Stevens Institute of Technology, University of Vermont, Purdue University, University of Rochester, and Union College. All of our schools in the recent years have seen more interest in engineering, which is a vast area of study with lots of different pathways to follow. And this evening, we hope to help you understand a little bit more about what the undergraduate study of engineering is like. I'm going to share with you a little bit about how our program is going to unfold this evening. And first, we're going to hear from Sarah Rothy from the University of Wisconsin, who is the director of the engineering summer programs at the University of Wisconsin, and she'll talk with us about the study of engineering. After we hear from Sarah, you'll have the opportunity to hear from college representatives who we have invited to join us for this evening. And they'll share with us first what it's like to study engineering at their respective institutions, in addition to giving us some clarity around the kind of preparation that can support students who are looking to study engineering in their future. Our program is going to end with some Q&A in which you'll be able to ask questions, and you'll be invited to type your questions into the Q&A section of tonight's webinar. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Sarah Rothy. As I mentioned, she is the director of the engineering summer program and the senior K-12 outreach contact at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Through the engineering summer program, Sarah helps students understand what it means to be an engineer, to explore different types of engineering, and to practice learning in an engineering college environment. She holds a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and she's an active member of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and she currently serves on the National Convention Planning Committee as well as the advisor for the University of Wisconsin-Madison undergraduate student chapter. In her free time, Sarah enjoys playing video games, baking, and playing with her 2 dogs. So please join me in welcoming Sarah Rothy.
Thank you, Neela, for the introduction, and good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for having me today. As Neela mentioned, my name is Sarah Rothy, and I use she, her pronouns. It is so great to be here with you today to talk about one of the most exciting and impactful fields in the world, engineering. Whether you realize it or not, engineering is everywhere. If you've ever wondered how skyscrapers are built, how new technology like smartphones or electric cars are developed, or even how the internet works, you've already encountered engineering in action. From the phone in your pocket to the car that you drive, from the bridges that connect cities to the satellites that help us communicate across the globe, engineering makes all of these things and so much more possible. So what exactly is engineering? Let's take a moment to understand it, and I hope by the end of this talk, you'll be just as excited about the possibilities in engineering as I am. At its core, engineering is the application of science, mathematics, and creativity to solve real-world problems. Engineers are problem solvers. They take complex challenges and figure out how to make them easier, safer, more efficient, or more sustainable. Whether it's designing a bridge, developing new medical technologies, or creating software that helps businesses run smoothly, engineers make it happen. Engineering is everywhere. It's behind the cars that we drive, the phones that we use, the renewable energy sources that we depend on, and even the clothes that we wear. Engineering blends math, science, technology, and creativity, and it's what allows us to turn ideas into real, usable things. As an engineer, a basic understanding of all the sciences is necessary. You'll likely take some chemistry, physics, maybe some biology, and definitely lots of math. These will give you the baseline skills to apply your engineering understanding to solve problems like the grand challenges of engineering, which are problems our society faces that, if solved, could drastically improve life on Earth. Imagine you need to design a building. You need to consider how strong it needs to be to withstand earthquakes or hurricanes, how it can be energy efficient, and how to make sure it's safe enough for people to use. That's engineering at work. And the cool part, engineering happens in every field imaginable. Engineers don't just build things, they shape the world around us. The beauty of engineering is that it's never boring. You get to take on challenges that require you to think critically, work in teams, and constantly push yourself to learn new things. The best part, engineer offers are have endless career possibilities. Whether you're interested in the environment, healthcare, entertainment, or space exploration, there's an engineering discipline for you. You could end up working for NASA, designing the next big video game, or developing green energy solutions to fight climate change. Engineering is incredibly interdisciplinary, which means that whatever path you choose, you'll still be able to tailor your learning experience to your interests. This can be done by taking courses or participating in research in other departments. There's even opportunities for you to continue your education and obtain a master's degree or a PhD. So you might be wondering, what's the difference between studying science and studying engineering? Both fields are related, but they are distinct in how they approach the world. Science focuses on understanding the natural world, why things happen the way that they do. Scientists conduct experiments, gather data, and work to expand our knowledge about everything from the tiniest little molecules to the largest galaxies. On the other hand, engineering is more focused on applying scientific knowledge to create practical solutions. While scientists might study the principles of how electricity works, engineers use that knowledge to design systems to bring power to our homes or create new electronic devices. So if you like the idea of not just understanding how things work, but actually making them work in the real world, engineering could be a great path for you. Now let's dive into why you might want to consider studying engineering. Engineering isn't just about numbers and technical knowledge, though those are important parts of engineering. It's about transforming your ideas into tangible solutions that can improve lives. Whether it's designing a new medical device that saves lives or creating a system that helps people reduce energy consumption, engineers are the innovators who make the future possible. What's more is engineering is incredibly versatile. Whether you're interested in space exploration, creating clean energy solutions, developing advanced technology, or improving healthcare, there's a branch of engineering for that. And let's not forget that engineering careers are in high demand and they tend to offer excellent salaries and job security. But it's not just about the job, it's about having the power to change the world for the better. So what are the different types of engineering? What can I get involved in? There are actually many different branches, and each one of them offers its own unique challenges and opportunities. Let's do an overview of some of the major ones. Mechanical engineering. This is probably the engineering that people typically think of when they hear the word engineering. Mechanical engineering is the field that deals with designing and building machines and mechanical systems like engines, machines, and robots. From vehicles to manufacturing plants, mechanical engineers work on creating devices that move and function. If you enjoy building things or being very hands-on, this might be a great fit for you. Civil engineers design and build infrastructure like bridges, roads, buildings, and water systems. They help create the foundation for modern society and ensure that these structures are safe and durable. If you've ever wondered how the tallest skyscrapers or longest bridges are built, civil engineers are the ones behind it. Chemical engineering, which is what my background is in, deals with turning raw materials into useful products through chemical processes. Chemical engineers work in industries like pharmaceuticals, food production, makeup, energy, and manufacturing. Electrical engineers focus on electricity, electronics, and electromagnetism. They're the ones responsible for everything from designing circuits to developing communication systems like Wi-Fi and cell phones. Electrical engineers design everything from power grids to electric vehicles. Computer engineers, if you're very passionate about coding and building computers or software, then computer engineering is the field for you. Computer engineers blend electrical engineering and computer science to develop hardware and software. They work on everything from building faster computers to developing cutting-edge artificial intelligence systems. Computer engineers design computer hardware, software, and everything in between. Aerospace engineers design aircraft and spacecraft. If you've ever dreamed of working for NASA or helping design the next generation of space exploration technology, this might be a good fit for you. Environmental engineers work to protect the environment and develop sustainable technologies. They focus on clean water, waste management, renewable energy, and combating climate change. And last but not least, biomedical engineers combine engineering with medicine to create technologies that improve healthcare. From designing prosthetics to developing life-saving medical devices, this field is a blend of technology and helping people. These are just a few of the many different engineering branches that exist within the world. Each one offers its own opportunities to make a difference, and the possibilities are nearly endless. If you're unsure about which branch of engineering you want to pursue, that's totally okay. Many students begin their studies in general engineering before narrowing their focus as they learn more. You can explore different fields through internships, summer programs, or even just talking to professionals in the industry or attending events like this. Participating in exploratory programs like the Engineering Summer Program at University of Wisconsin-Madison, which is what I run, are great ways to learn about what types of engineering that you want to explore. Some good questions to ask yourself as you're thinking about a different major that you might be interested in is, what kind of problems do you want to solve? Are you passionate about technology, the environment, healthcare, construction? Your interests can help guide you toward a specific branch of engineering. What type of work do you enjoy? Do you like hands-on work, designing software, managing large projects? Different engineering fields offer different types of work environments. So if you're still wondering whether engineering is the right path for you, here are a few signs that you might be an engineer at heart. You're creative and you love solving puzzles. Do you like puzzles or math problems or figuring out how things work? Engineers are problem solvers. They take complex challenges and break them down into manageable parts. If you enjoy figuring out how things work or coming up with solutions to challenges, you've already started thinking like an engineer. Engineers are always looking to improve a process or system. This requires defining the problem, which is not always obvious, and creating reasonable solutions. You enjoy hands-on learning. Engineering is often about making things, testing ideas, and seeing how they work in the real world. If you enjoy working with your hands, building projects, or experimenting with new ideas, you might find engineering a rewarding field. You love mathematics. I'm sure everyone's heard, oh, if you love math and science, you should go into engineering. And there is some truth to that. If you enjoy or excel at solving problems using numbers and formulas, engineering is a field that relies heavily on math, especially algebra, calculus, and statistics. But don't worry, engineers use math to make real-world decisions and don't just focus on abstract problems. If you love science, like physics, chemistry, and biology, those all play a huge role in engineering as well. If you like figuring out how things work, like understanding the forces that make a car move or the chemical reactions that create energy, engineering could be a great fit. You're fascinated by technology. If you're fascinated by gadgets, computers, or how things are built, you'll probably love engineering. Engineers work at the cutting edge of technology, creating the devices, systems, and tools that shape our world. You want to make an impact. Engineers shape the world. If you're excited about the idea of solving big problems, whether it's tackling climate change or developing new medical technologies, engineering might be the career for you. You're curious. Engineers are always learning. If you're the type of person who constantly asks, why, or how can we make this better, you're likely well suited for engineering. If you have a curiosity about how things are built, why they work the way they do, this field will keep you engaged and will always have something new for you to learn. You like working with others. The number one thing that engineers do not do is work alone. Every person in the team can contribute something. An important skill of an engineer is to recognize that you're not going to know all the answers, and you need to collaborate with others to be able to find the best solutions. Engineering projects often involve teamwork, whether it's with other engineers, designers, or professionals. If you enjoy collaboration and bringing ideas together, engineering offers a great opportunity to do that. You take the lead. Engineers often end up in a position with some kind of decision-making power. They want you to have the ability to make important decisions when the time comes. And finally, you like to create. Engineering isn't just about memorizing facts. It's about using your imagination to solve real-world problems. Engineers often work on projects that require creativity, whether it's designing a new product, building a structure, or improving a system. Whether you're designing something new or improving existing technology, creativity is key. If you like to bring your ideas to life, engineering could be your calling. Engineering is one of the most exciting, rewarding, and impactful fields you can study. It is a diverse, dynamic field that empowers you to shape the future. Engineering is a perfect fit for students who love solving problems, using math and science, and creating things that make a difference. Whether you want to design machines, build cities, create the next breakthrough in health technology, or explore space, there's a place for you in engineering. It's about using your skills in math and science and creativity to make a difference in the world. And the best part, the world is full of challenges. Challenges that engineers like you are meant to solve and offer you opportunities to grow. So if you're curious, enjoy learning new things, and you're excited by the idea of shaping the future, consider taking a step into the world of engineering. The future needs thinkers, innovators, and problem solvers just like you. And who knows, you might be the next great engineer to change the world. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you're now excited to explore what engineering can offer you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I think probably a lot of people are going to take that next step into engineering. Your enthusiasm is terrific. I'm Lisa Shamba. I'm one of the counselors at Packer as well. And for the next part of the program, what we're going to do here is we're going to hear from each of the representatives, hear a little bit about their particular institutions, which we know will give all of you listening a sense of really the different kinds of experiences that you can have as a student of engineering in college. So for our college colleagues, we would like for each one of you to introduce yourself and share what it's like to study engineering at your type of institution and what makes the engineering curriculum distinctive at your school. And we can start with Mercedes.
All right. So, hi, I'm Mercedes Farias. I'm a member of the admissions team here at Purdue. So at Purdue, we have a pretty large engineering school. It's the largest school at Purdue. 30% of Purdue students are engineering students. We have a lot of different engineering majors as well. We have 18 different engineering majors. So our first year engineering program allows you to really explore some of the majors that Sarah didn't mention that we have include like nuclear engineering as a program that we have. We are probably most well known for aeronautics and astronautical engineering, particularly because we've graduated quite a few astronauts, including, but not limited to Neil Armstrong. But we have just a wide variety. Another engineering program we have that's pretty unique is motorsports engineering. If you know anything about Indiana, you might know that we're known for the Indy 500. So we have a pretty robust motorsports engineering program at our Indy campus. Our College of Engineering is celebrating its 150th anniversary this year. And we've graduated hundreds of thousands of engineers throughout that time. Our engineering students typically experience a 97% placement rate after graduation and an average starting salary of $72,000 a year. I think what makes Purdue unique with our engineering program is that we really have a lot of opportunities embedded into the program. Just to highlight a few, for first year engineering, your first year is going to be really math heavy. And a lot of times you don't get to actually put anything together. So our first year engineering program is actually designed with a few different pathways. And among those include our EPICS and VIP programs. EPICS is our service learning project design program, whereas VIP is our research design program, where students can even work on industry sponsored projects as well. And that's something that you aren't just limited to your freshman year. You can continue with those programs after your first year of engineering. But we want to make sure our students are getting the opportunity to get their hands a little dirty their first year. So that way they can, actually put something together. We're also really passionate about allowing students to be multidisciplinary. So we have our Degree Plus program, which allows you to pick up a whole second degree through our College of Liberal Arts without having to do their liberal arts prerequisites. So you can graduate, if you want to do engineering and Spanish, you can absolutely do that and you'll have both degrees. And our Global Engineering program is a 4-year program where you get to study abroad, and B, do an internship abroad and an internship domestically. So it's a really cool opportunity that I think really gives you a really well-rounded perspective as you are in a, building up your career as an engineer and looking for getting a job after you graduate.
Great, thank you. Next, Ashley.
Hi, everyone. I am Ashley Swangler. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Go Badgers. We have a lot going on in terms of Badger engineering. As you see behind me, we have a very amazing location in terms of being close to water, talking about even some of those systems and actual environments that you're going to be working in. I'd say our location is one of the best benefits of our university. But beyond that, we have our own College of Engineering that represents over a dozen different majors, ranging from biomedical engineering, environmental engineering, some of our more emerging programs, as well as that traditional mechanical, chemical, electrical engineering, so on and so forth. And we also have about 9 different certificate programs. So in addition to those programs, engineering students can access more of a minor focus and many different things to achieve that interdisciplinary study. We also, in our academics page, you can filter by academic interest areas. And I always encourage students thinking about engineering to look at that as an option because there are about 30 engineering adjacent programs on the campus as well. Anything from soil science, when I think of our College of Agricultural and Life Science, there's actually a bio life engineering program. So there are many opportunities even outside College of Engineering to either get a little bit of flavor, go very adjacent like computer science and do more of that software and coding. So really tapping into your creativity when you're thinking about where you're going to be applying at UW-Madison. The other thing that's really important to know about us is we do have extensive research offered on the campus. We spend over $1 billion every year, making us one of the highest institutions in terms of research expenditures. And those range in every facet of our engineering program. So I think about our own nuclear reactor we actually have on campus. We work a lot with the state in terms of those dams that Sarah was talking about, which is really cool work that our students get to do for the benefit of Wisconsin and renewable energy. So the list goes on. And so those internship research opportunities are right in our backyard for our students, even sometimes on campus. We also have a lot of notable alums. I think that's one of our superpowers as Badgers, is there are over just about 1 million alums worldwide as well. So that really reach goes far and deep into industries. I have a member of our team, she and her brother graduated from UW-Madison, and he works at SpaceX, which is really cool as an engineer. But we have notable alums. We had somebody on Apollo 8. We have the founder of Harley Davidson. So for those mechanical engineers out there, I thought that was really cool research. But beyond that, what I found really impressive, just kind of digging a little bit deeper about our programs, is we provide about 140 different invention disclosures every year. So there's about 140 new things coming out of the engineering department every year in terms of that really applied practical engineering, which I thought was really cool. And then lastly, I think what really sets us apart is that advising and kind of that direct entry. So when you're thinking about us in terms of admission specifically, you're definitely going to want to apply directly to the program because it is more challenging to get into the program as a transfer from outside the College of Engineering. So we're really looking for well-qualified students. I know we'll get to some questions about what we're looking for in applicants, but definitely some who have had some research about what engineering really means. So starting with a session like this is a great place to start. I know you guys sometimes have a couple years in this group to be thinking about this, but it's never too early and just something to consider, particularly when you're thinking about UW-Madison. And with that, I will pass it on to our next colleague. And I also just want to say shout out to Sarah. You made me want to be an engineer. So I'm really proud you represented the Badgers well.
Great, thank you. Next, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. And sorry, yeah, that was amazing. I learned so much. As a non-engineer layman, I want to be an engineer. I just don't have the chops for it. So kudos to you. It was fantastic. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Chris Perlongo, Senior Associate Director of Admissions at UVM. Use he, him pronouns. First generation college student, originally from Queens, New York. So not far from where you guys are tonight. Super excited to be here at UVM. Been here about 7 of my 25 years of admissions. So a little bit about us at University of Vermont. We are an institution of about 11,000 undergraduates overall, split up among 7 different schools and colleges, including our engineering school, which comprises about maybe 1,500 undergraduates and about 250 graduate students at UVM. So again, one of our distinctive features is the fact that we are a small to medium-sized institution, and the engineering school is only about 1,500 students of that, which is kind of by design. It's our most competitive school on campus when it comes to academics, but also it's meant to be at that level. We want to keep our class sizes at roughly around 30 to 32 students, and student faculty ratio around 14 to 1. In terms of our programs, what we offer, we too offer a variety of different engineering derivatives, civil and environmental engineering. As you can see, the landscape behind me is a pretty sweet place to do environmental. We were talking right before this call about snow on our various campuses and whether it's snowing at UVM, which it is right now as I look out my window. If you want to be an engineer in Burlington, you could work at Burton Snowboards and design boot bindings, which is something some of my students are doing right now. So any snowboarders or skiers, we have something for you. We also do electrical and biomedical engineering. We have a level 1 trauma hospital right on campus. UVM Medical Center is the largest hospital north of Boston. So a lot of opportunities there for biomedical folks. Mechanical engineering, computer science, mathematics and stats, physics, data science, and engineering management, which is the business side of engineering careers. So something we've started in recent years as well. Our program, a lot of things that we have here are going to be unilateral, but for us, we talk about the idea that we're collaborative, hands-on, and we bring a lot of folks from around the world here. Burlington, Vermont is a pretty sweet place to live. I've been up here about 10 years now after being born and raised in New York. And it's a pretty awesome place, not just for administrators, but for students and for faculty as well. So we draw some of the best and the brightest from around the world to come teach here at UVM, advise, do research, and impart some of that knowledge on with our students as well. So it's very much a collaborative approach. Students and faculty work together on various cross-disciplinary projects, such as developing biomedical materials to treat cancer and improving sensor technology for joint replacement patients. It's very hands-on learning. Students have access from their first year to state-of-the-art facilities. We can gain hands-on experiences and labs on campus. And obviously the big lab you see behind me, that's Burlington behind me, by the way, with Lake Champlain and UVM's campus, which is just a few blocks from the lake in downtown Burlington. We also have our senior capstone projects, and our seniors, both in undergraduate and graduate, work on complex multidisciplinary projects in their senior year, often in collaboration with one of the local companies here in Burlington. And I stress that as one who did his master's program in New York City. It was always a challenge, always a line to get to where I need to go. There's an internship or an opportunity. In Burlington, we're the biggest game in town in terms of university. So our students have immediate access right away, whether it's Beta Technologies, which is doing some really cool stuff, electric aircraft, or some of the sustainability organizations. Global Foundries is one of the largest chip makers in the country as well. And our students are doing research right away from there also too. And career services, being one of the smaller schools, we have a well-networked career services program. Employers often recruit through UVM. As I mentioned, Global Foundries is a big place for our students being here on campus to find opportunities, but also within the university itself. And very much community focused. Being the fact that UVM is in Burlington, Burlington is UVM, UVM is Burlington. We support a variety of education outreach and initiatives throughout the city and local high schools, elementary schools, kind of what we're doing tonight, actually. We do a lot of local stuff as well, just to expose students to engineering, what that means, what that looks like. It's a pretty broad field with a lot of cool opportunities, and unpacking some of that's really important too. And like I said, we offer a variety of multidisciplinary programs, whether it's through the medical school or a couple other programs within our business school as well for students to get involved in. So you don't even think you have to be narrowed into one focus just yet at UVM. Although applying to the University of Vermont, you do have to declare your engineering discipline from the application, but we have an undecided option as well, where you will start in engineering school. It's a direct admit program where you'll come in and that'll be your home base for the 4 years that you're here. So I'll stop there and leave time for my colleagues, but thank you so much. Looking forward to answer your questions.
Great, thank you. Next we have Katya.
Hi, nice to meet you, everyone. My name's Katya, and I'm Assistant Director of Admissions over here at the University of Rochester. And when I'm on the road, when I'm visiting schools, I visit schools in Brooklyn, so I'm also your counselor. Maybe I'll see you again someday. But it's so hard to follow where there's so many great points about what's the same and what's different. I think I do want to hone in on a couple of things. First, I think it's so important, the research universities like ours, what we're doing in the research space, because it is about invention, it is about innovation, it is about collaboration to solve these grand challenges. So if you were to encounter me in the wilds of Brooklyn and ask me what is University of Rochester, that is probably what I would start with saying that we're really proud to be another one of these R1 research institutions, and that we also have one of the smallest student bodies achieving those benchmarks in terms of the investment that's going into student and faculty research and having an impact in the way that people think about the world and the way that people solve problems and come up with new ideas. We do that, again, we're one of the smallest student bodies, around 5,700 undergrad students with a 9-to-1 student to faculty ratio. The thing that I would say is then different is that our students talk a lot about how excited they are being able to get into research, even their first year, if they're ready, being able to find opportunities, get into labs. They don't feel like they have to be as competitive or cutthroat, because again, the nature of invention and nature of innovation is to collaborate and not feel like you have to stand out to be able to get those positions. One thing that would make us slightly different is that we do have this strategic plan, this motto of being one university, boundless possibility. So in admissions, we don't admit by major, we admit to the college. Someone could write on their application creative writing and then go when they've enrolled and say that they want to study engineering, they would be assigned an engineering advisor. And so students, regardless of what major they are accepted to, can explore different majors. Any other major has until the end of sophomore year to declare. Engineers, they do ask them to declare by the end of freshman year, because otherwise just getting through the requirements would be really hard. But our 16 different bachelor's degrees in different areas of engineering do really try and work hard to expose students to other ways of thinking. I think, yes, we have mechanical engineering, and that is one of our big programs, and some other programs that were mentioned here. I think some of our more unique programs, again, like biomedical engineering and our work with our School of Medicine, our medical research facilities, and our hospitals and our network, but also optical engineering. So the city of Rochester, awesome city, come visit us. Known for optics, the study of light, photonics, understanding laser technology. And that is because Xerox, Kodak, they were here in the 1800s before and as Rochester was coming up, and this idea of the lenses. So the birthplace of optics and the first place to study optics in the country. And we remain really proud of what our students are doing in that space. We have the largest laser lab of any college campus in the United States. And the work the students are able to do there alongside faculty is really exciting. Those are some of the big ones. I think something else that's exciting about it being one university and that interdisciplinary approach is just the amount of exposure students can get to different areas of the college and being able to double major, take different things. And we had identified as a college that some of our engineers weren't studying abroad, so they made it a mission to help provide opportunities for that. And now an equal number of our engineering students, equal proportion, study abroad as in other majors, because they have people in the Office of Study Abroad just dedicated to helping the engineers find these exchange programs and these possibilities. So I think we'll get into some good stuff around admissions in the next bit, and I didn't even watch my time, but I think I'm done. And I'll let Lisa pass it forward.
Okay, thank you. Next, April.
Hi, good evening, everyone. And I agree with Katya that it is getting harder and harder to think of more unique features, but I will give it a stab as well. So good evening, everyone. My name is April Chang. I am the Dean of Undergraduate Admissions and Pre-College Programs at Stevens, and it's a pleasure to introduce you to my school. We are an innovation-driven university located in Hoboken, New Jersey, just minutes away from New York City and literally right across the Hudson River, as you can see from my background. Along with our School of Engineering, which is the largest school at Stevens, we also offer programs and majors in business, natural and applied sciences, computer science, as well as humanities, which not a lot of people know about Stevens, being that we are an institute of technology. And similar to many of our universities here, we do encourage students to pursue a double major. and really focusing on the interdisciplinary aspect of our curriculum. We are big on ROI. So ROI stands for return on investment. I'm not sure how many students here may really care about ROI, but I hope all of our parents and families and older siblings perhaps are thinking and caring about ROI, which, you know, I think I cannot stress enough how for all of our schools, choosing engineering at any of our schools will really lead to really great, amazing opportunities. The return on investment aspect is huge. At Stevens, again, we try to utilize our location to the fullest, is that we offer a co-op program for engineering students where you can spend an entire semester not taking classes as a student. You can still live on our campus. The two towers you see here are primarily housing our sophomore students with the amazing view of New York City. So you can still live on our campus, but you can work full-time at a company that has an agreement with Stevens for pay and, of course, for the professional experience. We currently have co-op agreements with over 700 companies. Many of them are in New York City, but we also offer out-of-state, even global co-op opportunities. We have a huge alumni basis in Houston, Texas with ExxonMobil. So a lot of our students tend to go there. And it's great to see the variety of different locations that our students end up in. But a good chunk of them will stay in our area because, again, if you're already here in Hoboken, minutes away from New York City, that alone really has a lot of big aspects. Things that are unique to specifically to our engineering curriculum is that at Stevens, we offer a Bachelor of Engineering degree versus a Bachelor of Science in Engineering, which some other schools may offer. The Bachelor of Engineering, in our view, is really designed to provide students with a solid foundation in engineering principles, focused to their specific major in your chosen field, but also in a broader level. So for students who are coming to Stevens for your first 3 semesters, regardless of which engineering you decide to choose from our 13 different undergraduate engineering majors, all of our engineering students will be taking the same core classes in our engineering curriculum, which we call the design spine, so that it really leads our students to having a broader and a more well-rounded and well-balanced understanding of the field of engineering. So as I mentioned, we offer 13 different programs. I think, you know, a lot of my colleagues here already stated, including Sarah, you know, some of the more popular options like mechanical engineering, which is our largest and most popular program for engineering students. Some of the more unique engineering programs that we also have optical engineering. Although different from University of Rochester, we, you know, don't have a lot of these other companies. You know, we're not known as the Center of Optics, but, you know, that is a program that students can pursue. We also have naval engineering, which, again, you know, we have a lot of different contracts and collaborative opportunities and partnerships with the government for our students, including undergraduate students, to do research in. But as Sarah mentioned, it's okay. It's perfectly fine if you don't know exactly which engineering you want to pursue. And I think for most of our schools here, we will allow students that time and opportunity to really be able to take different courses until you find the one that you're truly interested in and passionate about. Another interesting aspect of our BE degree is, as I mentioned, the design spine, which is the name of our engineering curriculum. So along with your calculus courses and your physics classes, students are also taking classes in design for every single semester. So for a total of 8 semesters that they're here at Stevens. This ultimately leads to your senior design project, which is a capstone project in your senior year, where you and your team design, build, and present a fully functional prototype or solution to a real industry challenge. At Stevens, we believe engineers are not just builders, but innovators, problem solvers, entrepreneurs, and leaders. And these are also the qualities that my team and I like to look at when we review applications from prospective students just like you. So I look forward to sharing more information with everyone over the next hour. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And now you're up, Jess.
Thank you. And it's really difficult to go last. But hi, everyone. I'm Jess Wenger, Assistant Dean of Admissions and the Coordinator of Diversity and Access Engagement. I'm also a proud union alum, class of 2010, and I'm married to a union engineer. So A lot of things have been mentioned about different programs, and Union offers 6 different engineering degrees. I'll focus on a few of kind of the touch points that make us a little bit unique. First, we are a liberal arts college, so we really focus on both engineering and the liberal arts curriculum. All of our engineering students complete liberal arts at Union, which is really exciting. We're a small school, we're about 2,000 students. So we really do kind of create and promote lifelong learning, and our engineering students are taking courses in the humanities, in the social sciences. They're doing a lot of different things, which is wonderful. Since we're undergraduate liberal arts school, we don't have any graduate students or TAs on campus. So our students are taught by faculty members from first year all the way through senior year, and that actually gives them the opportunities to do a lot of different types of research experiences because they aren't fighting for graduate assistantships or graduate opportunities for research. Our undergrads are really engaged with that. Our faculty bring our students all over the country for professional conferences, and they're publishing with them, which is really, really exciting. We also have some really rich traditions. For example, we are the first liberal arts college to offer engineering, and we started our engineering program in 1845. That's 16 years before the Civil War started. And we are ABET accredited and have been doing engineering before ABET even was around. So that's really exciting as well. Our students are doing wonderful things at amazing companies, and some places our students are at, our graduates are at, are SpaceX, Tesla, Regeneron, Global Research. Our students are also going into top graduate programs at places like MIT, RPI, Columbia, Dartmouth, a lot of great places. So yeah, I kind of quickly, big school facilities in a small school environment, that liberal arts component is really unique and distinctive. We have great undergraduate research, and we have some of those rich traditions. So I'll pass it back to our lead to continue the night.
Great, thank you all of you for that part. Now we have a few questions that we'll direct to one admissions rep about a specific component, mainly of the admissions process for engineering. And then other speakers can add on if it feels like there's something very different for their institution. But we'll start with the first question is for Mercedes. What do you look for in terms of preparation in the high school curriculum for an engineering applicant?
Yeah, so first thing we're going to be looking for is if you meet our minimum requirements, but engineering applicants should both meet and exceed those minimum requirements. So the minimum requirements at Purdue are 4 years of English, 4 years of math. Engineers should have at least pre-calculus, but if your schools offer calculus, we expect to see calculus. And so not having calculus does decrease the strength of your application for Purdue. That might be different for other institutions, but that is something we expect to see. 3 years of lab science, and engineers should expect to take a 4th year of lab science, even though that there's a 3-year minimum. And engineers should expect to have both physics and chemistry experience. So you don't want to skip chemistry. It's just as important as physics to us. And 3 years of social studies, and then 2 years of world language. We also understand that students may grow up speaking another language, or they speak another language as their first language. And so we understand that. So as long as a student indicates that on their application, we will then waive that requirement, because we know that in some instances, a student might request to be exempted from taking a world language because of that background. We always look at strength of curriculum in regard to what's available to you at your school. That's where if your school offers calculus, we expect to see calculus. The strongest applicants to Purdue are going to pursue the strongest possible programs at their school. This is in regards to academics. Students who have great academics and great grades, but no activities and a terrible essay is not likely to be admitted to Purdue. And so we take a holistic approach to our admissions process, like I'm sure all of my colleagues do. And so we want to see those really strong academics, but those other aspects of your application are equally as important and strong. So I also want to mention, because I get this question all the time, is what about burning out? And we don't want you to burn out. So I recommend that when you're looking at kind of pursuing that rigor, focusing on that math and science, because that's going to be building that foundation for engineering, which is why the strongest engineering applicants are going to be pursuing the highest rigor in math and science. So if you are like, which APs? take AP Calculus and go ahead and skip AP US History. But if you know you can handle it, take both, right? And so that's kind of my bit of advice there. And then the other thing I want to mention is career technical education or Project Lead the Way courses, internships, co-ops. Do not replace core classes at Purdue. An intro to engineering class is fantastic, but not if you took that intro to engineering class instead of physics. And so we like to see those things in addition to your coursework, but not in replacement of your coursework. And so when you're thinking about curriculum, that's kind of what we're looking for in a nutshell. Our strongest applicants are going to really pursue the rigor that they have available to them.
Great, a lot of nodding heads, so that makes sense. Okay, Ashley, you're up next. Mercedes just mentioned that you can have all of the academics, but you have to have the other stuff too to be compelling. So when you're evaluating engineering applicants, what kind of extracurricular activities support an engineering applicant?
Thank you for that question. And it certainly is multifaceted. So I think as my colleague Sarah eloquently put, it's a field of problem solvers, creatives, STEM inclined folks, of course. So when we're really talking about those required courses to make an applicant compelling, we're also looking at activities that kind of align with everything that was just said. So of course, if you have the ability, the time, the funds to do summer programs like offered at University of Wisconsin, that's amazing. But really, when we're thinking about kind of that bare minimum, is finding those activities, clubs, organizations that provide that space to solve problems in any capacity, to be creative. I love seeing students who co-found start initiatives on their campus. To me, that really shows a self-starter mentality, an innovator, an explorer. Those are all personal traits that really dovetail well with the field of engineering. I do see a lot of clubs and activities that align with more computer science, so like coding opportunities or robotics is very popular, specifically competitive robotics. I think anything in like a time space that's competitive also really gives you kind of that real world experience of solving an immediate problem. So I do think these are great, especially if you're in that first or second year of high school, you have time to respond to this, but also for the juniors in the room who may be thinking about this process a lot sooner. It's really thinking about what you do now and how that leans into your creative side, your problem solving side. But really a lot of things can go in that category. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel, even though how fitting that is for engineering. But you do need to be doing something, especially thinking about the competitive nature of all of our programs. We are holistic and we are thinking not just about the person that you are in the classroom, but the person that you are outside the classroom, getting into our maker spaces on campus, being a self-starter in doing your own research. I've seen a lot of applicants this year, and you're a generation of self-taught folks using the internet to their advantage, of getting out there and learning code themselves or fixing up cars with their dad on the weekends. I mean, those are really cool things that, again, might not be a club at your school, but you're doing on the side and totally relates to the subject. So I'd say choose your own adventure, but choose something. So important.
Something else I'd also like to add really quickly is there are also non-traditional things. So if you're someone who's helping support your family with like a job, or you're doing childcare, or just any type of family care at home, please make sure you're including that in your applications. Those go so much farther than you think, and it really showcases like things that you are doing. So if you don't have the time and space for activities because there are other things and other priorities within your life, please make sure you're including those in your applications. Those count for a lot too.
Great, thank you both. All right, so Chris, if you're taking the right courses, you're involved in a lot of stuff. When your application is being evaluated, like what qualities of mind do you look for in an engineering applicant, and where do you see those as an admissions reader in the application?
Thanks, Lisa. And before I lose Cyrus' point, yeah, I couldn't agree more. As a first-gen student who worked all through high school, put that in your application too. And it kind of dovetails into some of the conversation I'm going to have around some of the intangibles that we look for in the admissions process as part of that holistic review that my colleagues talked about. It's not just about the coursework, not just about activities, it's what you learn as a result of all those things, that kind of cumulative effect that all comes together. So jotting a few things down, you talk about the technical skills of engineering, and this might be self-explanatory, but this could mean software proficiency or experience with design tools, and demonstrate those through coursework, projects, and maybe certifications that you might have. Plenty of students who apply to UVM have done stuff outside of the school sphere on their own. And as Ashley said, self-taught learners, that's really important. So include these things. We want to see where your time goes. Analytical thinking is important. Engineers have to have the ability to break down complex problems into manageable parts. A lot of things we deal with nowadays are incredibly complex and heavy. We need to figure out how to identify them and approach them. So look at key variables and use logical reasoning to reach simple and complex solutions. Problem solving may be self-explanatory, but incredibly important. Engineers need to be proactive, identify issues and look for potential solutions. Effective strategy, and again, using projects that they've worked on to not only highlight the great things you've done, but also some of the challenges that you've seen along the way too, right? We could all learn from our mistakes. Don't be afraid to fail. It's really important. And creativity, engineering is not just all science, right? There's art to it too. You need the capacity to think outside the box, generate new and innovative ideas, and approach problems from many different angles that you'll encounter, because we have a lot of pressing issues of our current time and some of the ones in the future that we can't even imagine yet. So thinking that big picture and having that larger lens is really important. But of course, the attention to detail is important too. It is the science as well. So think about a meticulous focus on accuracy, quality, and just thoroughness in everything that you do. Again, evidence this through projects, group work, things you've done on the high school level or outside of that, that'll give admissions offices a way that you communicate and interact, which is my next point. And communication is so, so key. Clear, concise, written, and verbal communication in every way. Engineers need to be able to explain what they're doing. And to folks like me who are not engineers, you got to kind of explain it to folks, again, who do different ways. So having that ability to pivot and translate what all the great things into folks that may not is super, super important as well to get group work done. And keep an open mind. The pace of technology in today's society is constantly changing, and arguably probably the fastest pace we've ever seen. You need a willingness to learn. You can't learn everything in a day, but be able to adapt and have changing situations and embrace the challenges that come with it. And finally, teamwork. You can't do this on your own. You have to have experience with collaboration, working with the team, taking on leadership when appropriate, and knowing when to step back to, and of course, embracing the diversity that comes with that. And I'll put a plug in for UVM right now. We just started a program called UVM STEM Scholars Leading Change, which is a cohort program of 30 to 35 students every year from all different denominations, backgrounds, genders, sexualities, religions, to come to campus and be part of this cohort model that live together, learn together, and progress in the next 4 years to talk about inclusive leadership and change in STEM fields. So we're jazzed about that, but long way of saying there's a lot of cool things going on, but having that flexibility, that teamwork, that communication, that open-mindedness will give you some of the soft skills that you need.
Excellent, thank you. Katya, you're next. As many of the students and families listening may realize, a lot of institutions are test optional in terms of standardized testing. One question we get a lot is whether are engineering applicants more competitive in the applicant pool with testing, even in a test optional world?
Yeah, so I was on another panel where I had an opportunity to see this in action, where there might be someone else here with a completely opposite answer to me. So let's leave a beat for that after it, because at the University of Rochester, we did go test optional for all students prior to COVID. We did in 2018. It was an intentional choice. And we are very committed to test optional, and we have tracked the data since then. And are thinking we might be more on the optional side, including for engineers and maybe some of my other peers, because for engineering students as well, we would give the same exact answer, that whether it'll help a student be more competitive depends entirely on their profile. If they, instead of using that time to study for the testing, were then using that time to take coursework, to do internships, to do research, we would be more excited about that. But there are students who can definitely benefit from that additional data point. So I think about a student that I was looking at like today, so they're on my brain. standardized testing is SAT and ACT, but it's also like AP exams. There was a student whose school did not offer AP calculus. They self-studied for it, got a 4. Makes a lot of sense for that student to want to show that standardized test and say, here's this other data point about my grit, about my ability. I see students who absolutely, they're like, I knocked it out of the park on the SAT and math, and that might help give some more light into my ability and how I could contribute. But I wouldn't weigh it any higher than other elements of the program for us. And we give the same answer to engineers as we give to other degrees, that it more depends on them if it's going to make them more competitive or not, and how that fills out their story. So they same acceptance without it, because there's students who can be harmed by sending in their test scores if their test scores are not so great.
Great. Thank you for the nuance there, Katya. Does anyone else have anything that they want to add to that about testing, or anything that feels different for their institution?
Yeah, so I definitely encourage you all to make sure you're checking test policies. There's a lot of new terms that come out of the post-COVID world in addition to test optional, like test blind and things like that. That means different things. At Purdue, you'll notice on our website that it says we are test expected. So basically, students offer 97% of students offered admission last year submitted an SAT or ACT score. So technically we are test optional, but especially for a program as competitive as engineering, it is highly, highly, highly recommended that you submit an SAT or ACT score, regardless of whether or not it's a bad score. And I put that in quotes because bad is relative. Because if one student submits an SAT score, and even if that score is not that great, and they have fantastic grades, fantastic student profile, but the SAT score just isn't the best, and another student with basically the exact same academic profile submits that application and they don't submit their SAT score, the student with the low SAT score is going to get admitted over the student who didn't submit any. And so what it does for us is it's allowing us to complete the academic and student profile for you, but also when we're kind of splitting hairs with how competitive our program is, it just is going to set you apart to have the score versus not having the score, even if the score is not the best of the best. So it is still a holistic approach, but you definitely need to submit it in order to increase your chances of admission to our engineering program.
Thank you for your clarity on that. Much appreciated. And as you said, a great reminder for students and families to always make sure they are doing their research for each institution and their requirements and expectations. Thank you. Anyone else on the testing? No. Okay. So April, next. Can you comment a little bit on, some things have been mentioned tonight, but can you comment a little bit more about what engineering grads go on to do in terms of careers and the breadth of those options?
Sure. I think my colleagues here really mentioned amazing companies and various industries and research that their alumni and their current students are pursuing, which I think hopefully should be helpful. And I think overall, one of the most exciting aspects of pursuing a career in engineering is its versatility. So whether you're passionate about technology, healthcare, the environment, or even entrepreneurship, a degree in engineering can really open doors to a wide range of opportunities. And as I mentioned earlier, the great aspect about studying engineering, another great aspect, is that engineers are still very highly in demand across various sectors. So the likelihood of you obtaining a job or pursuing graduate school compared to some other programs may be a lot higher. So I just wanted to parse into maybe 3 different larger areas that we've seen our students go into. So a lot of our engineering students will choose to work in industry. So again, it was mentioned companies like Google, Tesla, Boeing, working in the healthcare sector with firms developing life-saving medical devices and technologies. Engineers in industry apply their knowledge to real-world problems, often working on projects that really impact millions of lives. So if you feel like if that's your calling, then again, definitely consider perhaps working in industry. If you have more of an entrepreneurial spirit, if you, it's interesting though, you know, reading applications for a number of years, I am seeing more and more students developing their own apps, but also starting their own companies, even as high school students, which is super impressive. And I think all of our schools here, including Stevens, we want to continue to support you in these entrepreneurial endeavors. So if you are that type of student, you can absolutely continue to be an entrepreneur after you graduate. You can launch your own startup company, you can invent a new product. Engineers often are able to spot opportunities for innovation, and they're uniquely positioned to turn ideas into reality. So if you consider the founders of companies like Apple, SpaceX, both were engineers who identified problems and created groundbreaking solutions. And finally, for those students who want to dive deeper into specialized fields, graduate studies, graduate school offer another exciting path. So with a bachelor's degree in engineering, you can pursue advanced degrees in areas like artificial intelligence, robotics, aerospace, biomedical engineering, or even programs like cybersecurity. So graduate studies allow you to contribute to groundbreaking research that really can help change the world, save lives, whether it's developing autonomous vehicles, creating smarter medical devices, advancing renewable energy technologies. So whether you see yourself working more at a leading, perhaps at a leading tech company, launching your own startup, or pursuing groundbreaking, amazing research, you know, engineering offers endless of possibilities to really shape your future. And I hope you can continue to be creative and use your creativity and entrepreneurialism to pursue various paths.
Thank you very much. A really great understanding of sort of the breadth of options like engineering can mean. So thank you. And lastly, Jess, can you, a lot of you have mentioned a little bit about opportunities to do some exploring or coming in undecided as an engineer. Can you share a little bit about how students are supported in discovering which path of engineering is right for them?
Absolutely. And Sarah had a wonderful overview of all of the different types of engineering, or many of the different types of engineering programs and majors that you can pursue. So at Union, that exploration is done in a number of ways, through academic advising, coursework in the first year, and hands-on learning. So the first year experience is one for all engineering students, or when they come in as engineering students, pretty common across the board within the majors. It allows students to kind of explore the majors, and we'll all be taking core courses in mathematics and sciences in the sophomore year. So one course that all of our students take in their first year is Exploring Engineering, and it really introduces our students to the 6 different majors that we offer within the engineering programs at Union. The course includes weekly design studios and emphasizes engineering design, teamwork, technical writing, all of those important skills that Chris was talking about. Also, the primary goals of the class is really to affirm that engineering is something that students want to do and that they have that skill set to be able to be successful in it, and also help them decide between those different programs and majors we offer. The highlight of the course is an engineering design challenge that's completed at the end of the course with a lot of problem solving, open-ended, but also allows students to collaborate and work with teams and partners and things like that. In addition, our students declare their engineering major before the start of their sophomore year. So they have their first year to really explore and think about those different opportunities and what really clicks for them and what they really are excited about. And they work with their academic advisors, who again are faculty members. We don't have professional advisors at Union. Our students are advised by the instructors that teach them every day, but they work very closely with our students and talk to them at the start of each term to kind of discuss where they're at, what are they thinking about, what is a really good fit for them. There's still opportunity to change a concentration or a major throughout the first and second year, but we encourage that exploration to really happen in year 1, so they have a good grasp and understanding of where they'd like to be for the rest of their program at Union.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything that they want to add about that sort of supporting or advice as students are making their decisions? It's fine if not. Okay. One more that we wanted to pose right now is if your institution offers a BA in engineering and a BS in engineering, can you explain a little bit about the difference and what it means to pursue one or the other?
So I think we're one of those. While the majority of our programs are BS, we do have one program, just a BA in engineering science, that is only a BA. And then a couple of our programs like computer science offer both options. For audio and music engineering, that was the other unique major I wanted to talk about. It. Audio and music engineering as a BS is more of the actual engineering, like building the machinery that replicates and reproduces sounds, the mics, everything like that, the speakers. And then they have an audio arts and technology BA. So sometimes it's like an offshoot, but more often what's really signifying is that it's more of that liberal arts approach you would be taking from other departments. And from the engineering school, what we hear is that it is really designed for students who maybe want to double major and be able to do more courses and still have that experience and still have a foundation to be able to continue on to graduate school, to continue and get their master's in a specific area. But it's also designed for students who might not want to work as a traditional engineer, but have some engineering thinking, some design thinking, some problem solve thinking. So maybe someone who wants to go into an entrepreneurship space, more in technology or more of an educational space, working with different people. And so those BAs give some of that flexibility to still have that certification, to still have that foundation, but bring in other areas and ideas. So it'll tend to have fewer requirements than the BS in what would be considered like a traditional engineering sequence with as many maths and higher level courses in that area, but could still include research, could still include a capstone, as well as some foundational courses and some choices of electives. But I would say again, just like at University of Rochester, a student might not even know or have to designate if they want the B or the BS yet. That's usually a decision they'd be making with their faculty advisor.
Thank you. Now I'm going to pass it to our colleague, David.
Great. Thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you to all of our panelists tonight. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and responses to our questions, which are not easy questions. So thank you again for all this great information you've shared with us. Once again, good evening, everyone. My name is David Lee. I am one of the college counselors at the Packard Collegiate Institute. Thank you again for joining us tonight. So at this time, we're going to open the opportunity for you to ask questions to our wonderful panelists. We ask that you try to keep your questions general versus asking a very specific nuanced question to a specific college. So anything that would be very helpful, not only for you, but perhaps our audience, our community tonight. You may type your question by clicking on the Q&A box that should be appearing towards the bottom of your Zoom screen. You can take a few seconds or a minute or so to think of your question and go ahead and type your question in. And the questions that come through, we'll do our best to have all of them answered by our wonderful panelists. But before and as you think about your questions, I'm just going to go ahead and ask a question to one of our panelists right now. And we're going to go back right from our very beginning of the program and see if we can get Sarah Rothy to answer our first question. So, Sarah, tonight our audience is made up of students who are primarily in 9th, 10th, and currently even in 11th grade. And you are director of an engineering summer program. And so I was hoping you could possibly share perhaps what are some benefits that students can gain by perhaps enrolling in a specific summer program for engineering, but also, do you feel that prospective students have to have this type of experience? And if not, do you have any suggestions? Do you have any thoughts as to what students can do when and if they're not able to partake in a summer program? It could be for a variety of reasons, scheduling and things like that. But I know one of our wonderful panelists put the suggestion of, hey, work with a family member and take apart a car engine and things like that. You know, so anything. I'd love to get some context for the good of our audience, our community tonight about summer programs and outside of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for the question. I think that going into the engineering being very multifaceted and like lots of different opportunities really allows for students to kind of dive in however it makes sense for them. So first you started with summer programs, so I'll start with that. So I do run a summer program here at University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I think that they have a lot of benefits because a lot of the different programs that are available for students to participate in will have you being able to do some of those hands-on experiences. Some, like I know for ours, for instance, we really try to mimic the first year that you would have in engineering. So we have you taking some of those first year like math and science classes, in addition to giving you some hands-on opportunities, and you'll work on a design project throughout the year to kind of work on those collaborative skills because you'll be working in teams and different things like that. So I think that summer programs really provide you the opportunity to see what engineering is. And I know specifically for my program, I make sure that all of our staff and everyone is on the same page to make it a safe environment for you to explore that. So, you know, really encouraging you to step out of your comfort zone, take those risks and kind of see what you're capable of in an atmosphere where we're really here to help support you and help walk you through, you know, if you make mistakes, we're not going to kick you out of the program. We're going to work with you to really help you understand like what you need and the skills that you need to develop to be a successful engineer. So I think that those summer programs, whether it be mine or any other summer programs that exist in the country, there are thousands, can really be good opportunities for that. Something else that I see in some of our program evaluation that we do with students that I think is also another great benefit of summer programs is building community. And I think that that is something that our program very much centers around, and being able to provide students with other like-minded students to really grow with, bond with, and have lasting friendships. So I think that that's also an underappreciated portion of doing some summer programs, especially residential ones, if you're able to do residential ones, because you do get to kind of build that community with other like-minded people, which is always a lot of fun. There are lots of options. So if you do have the ability to do summer programs, some cost a lot of money, some cost no money. Ours is free to participate in. We do expect students to be able to travel to the UW-Madison campus on their own. And we do have some variance depending on our budget from year to year to help support travel. So ours is free to participate in. There are lots of others that are free to participate in, as well as there are some for pay. But in addition to residential programming, there's also virtual programming. I think that the pandemic taught us a lot on that there's a lot that we can be doing in the virtual space. And so I think a lot of universities are getting creative on different options that they can host. So, you know, if going somewhere isn't something that works for you, maybe joining something on a computer or on your phone or something like that is an option for you. And I think as we're talking about the virtual space, there are so many opportunities online as well. We really do live in an age of information and technology, and even just watching YouTube videos for fun or like doing other educational websites. So like I know Khan Academy does a lot of things on like, you know, your maths and sciences and things like that. So there are a lot of opportunities out there that, you know, if you don't have a personal device at home, libraries and other places, your schools potentially will have kind of like computers and other things that you can access. So you can try to find some information on your own and learn some on your own too. And to kind of go along with that learning, I think also utilizing your networks. So, you know, use your school counselors, use your family members, use your friends' family members or your friends. Like, you don't know who you are potentially connected to unless you start asking. So, you know, ask your family members, ask your friends like, hey, do you know any engineers or do you know any people who are really into like science and math, and see if there are maybe connections that other people can help you make to be able to ask those people questions, you know. See what engineers are doing at their jobs. Be like, you know, I think I'm interested in working in a pharmaceutical company. What does that mean for me though? So I think there's also a lot of untapped resources out there that are in your own kind of backyard that you can pursue as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's very helpful. And one of the questions that kind of followed up with regards to summer programs, and I think there's maybe somebody else can also add to this, but in terms of what grades do are students allowed to partake in, say, like University of Wisconsin summer engineering program? I know Stevens also has a robust summer experiential program. So is ninth grade too early for something as nuanced as engineering? April, I see that you've unmuted, so go ahead if you'd like to share.
Sure. Ninth grade isn't too early. So our programs, again, it's helpful to do your research. For our programs, we offer 1 to 2 week residential programs. We are launching our new 4-credit virtual programs next year as well for those students who want to actually earn college credits in 5 different courses. But generally for our summer residential programs, ninth grade isn't too early. I will say you will be one of the younger students. Majority of our students are pursuing our summer programs in the summer after grade 10, after grade 11 would be where we find the majority of our students. But grade 9 isn't too early. Again, it really depends on your, I guess, preparedness. And this is something that you should discuss with your family as well, with your parents. Have a conversation with us as well. One of our core programs that we offer is a 2-week program called Exploring Career Options in Engineering and Sciences, which I think would be a really great option for those students who may not know entirely what area of engineering they want to pursue. So that could be a really great option. But we do have students who are coming from grade 9. We have students coming from all over the world. So, there are students with different levels of understanding certain programs. You don't have to be an engineering whiz, or you don't have to know how to code unless you want to attend one of our advanced coding classes. But there are a variety of different programs that really are suitable for anyone at the high school levels.
Thanks so much, April. Mercedes, yeah, I see you unmuted.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, like, for those of you who may have younger siblings too, we're really passionate. I know a lot of my colleagues too, their schools are probably really passionate about early outreach. So really, depending on what grade you're in, there probably is a program out there for you to participate in. We have engineering-based programs available to students as early as 6th grade. And so depending on what you're looking for, what you have time for, odds are there's definitely programs out there for you to participate in no matter what age you are.
Great. Thank you, folks. Oh, Sarah, yeah?
Just really quickly, also for the parents, guardians in the room, a lot of national organizations will kind of host very widespread kind of like single night off things, like, for example, Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, which I'm a part of, host Noche de Ciencias. And so they'll have like one night things where students anywhere from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade have the opportunity to kind of like do science-based things, or like STEM-based things, or engineering-based things. So if you've got little ones as well that you maybe want to start introducing to those STEM categories, there's lots of opportunities through national organizations, in addition to lots of universities doing that as well, and community-based organizations.
Thank you, everyone. So there's this really great question in the Q&A box asking, as our family continues to research colleges, we value learning more about diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Could you, maybe one or two of our colleagues here on the panel, could you provide some insight into how your school has promoted DE&I across its campus? For example, are there specific programs, student organizations, or resources that support underrepresented student groups or encourage dialogue about these particular important topics?
I'm sure we're all just being polite to each other as there's so many student orgs that we're proud of. I really love, in my role as assistant director of DEI for admissions, working with so many of the student orgs on campus, as they are so excited to talk to prospective students as they see themselves in that journey. And so that's just one tip too, is that a lot of these organizations, as you are doing that research, you can follow students' Instagrams, you can, not personally, but their organizations, to see an idea of the events, of the culture, what they're doing. They will often have emails listed in the college, so that you can reach out and get that full sense. And student panels are a really great sense again, or an idea. But I would say, I mean, Sarah's been talking about SHEP, but there are different like conferences and groups. We're thinking about like NSBE and the National Engineering for like Black engineers. There's women in tech organizations. And so University of Rochester hosts these, as well as, of course, cultural and affinity groups that are more about building affinity networks, about having spaces to express different cultures, and also about advocacy and having influence over college governance. So there's a lot of different really great ways to get involved, and a lot of it is student driven. And I get more excited talking about that than even there's some amazing things that college is hosting as well, and offices and resources and advisors on campus.
I would just love to echo briefly what Katya had mentioned about the student-driven focus of that work. I think as much as our faculty and staff are the experts, when I was just quickly perusing the long list of activities on our website, and just the vast majority having to do with, of course, the importance engineering and just what that means in their space, but also underrepresented groups, particularly in the field of engineering, talking about female identifying students, students of color, queer and trans engineers, specifically a group there. And that is all coming from the students. Faculty don't just drum up a club. You can start your own club at all of our different institutions. It really is speaking to the spirit of innovation and what engineering is all about, and going on any of our websites to see just the, I would say, vibrant community of engineers is really inspiring, just as inspiring as our talk about engineering was. It's a really great way to get excited about who you could be with and who you could be as an engineer on our campus. So definitely recommend taking a look.
Great, thank you. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Mercedes. Sorry.
I just wanted to give a really cool fun fact that I think is really neat about Purdue, is that the National Society of Black Engineers was founded on our campus. So I know we're in Indiana, but we have a lot of diversity, especially in our College of Engineering with our Minority in Engineering program. And we're very proud of NSBE for being founded here at Purdue.
Great. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, sorry. No, I was gonna say, all great advice. Just also talk to students too. When you're on our campuses and you visit, like, don't limit yourself to just a STEM program. Like, do a college visit while you're there. Hey, is there a STEM student available I can talk to in STEM and engineering, just to get a sense of what might be out there for you? Because the peer-to-peer conversation is so important. And I work with access initiatives on our campus too. We all carry different identities, whether it's first gen or gender or religion, sexuality. Try to get a student who had some of that shared lived experience, right? And as you're a student in high school, even if it's where you're from, try to get a student from Brooklyn or wherever it is in New York City, say, hey, what's that transition like to be a student at this campus in my experience? I think it's so important. So a lot of great resources there, but don't underestimate the ability for us to put you in touch with a student too. We all run big programs, lots of applications, lots of connection, but that's kind of our work. And I think those are just so powerful. We're able to get the sense of somebody who's doing all the things that we're talking about.
Great. I think we got one more question here on the board that I'd like to have however many of our colleagues, panelists would like to answer. But let's maybe there might be some folks who might have a little bit of we need a little myth busting in terms of what is it like to be an engineering student. So all of you have talked about the experience academically, what you'll be doing or expected as an engineering student, what majors you offer, but how integrated are engineering students with the rest of the student body? Are they in the lab all the time? Are they working? Are they not doing anything else? Are they not part of residential life? Are they not singing in the choir? Or are they in fact, performing on the stage? Or are they athletes? Can maybe 2 of you, 3 of you can talk about like how engineering students are also integrated outside of just engineering on your campus? Yeah, April, go right ahead.
feel like I need to start because of the name of my school. So we get that a lot. We get, oh, Institute of Technology, computer labs. I see students just typing away. And to be honest, before I started working at Stevens, I think I did not study engineering. I didn't go to Stevens, but that was honestly the perception slightly that I had of, if you think about engineering students and, you know, working at an Institute of Technology, that was my assumption going in about 7 years ago. I was proved very wrong. Again, it could be just, you know, my affinity and my love of our students, but I think our students are very cool. They do a lot of really fun things. They're athletes, you know, our men's volleyball team, we were part of Division III, and they won national championships 2 years ago. They came very close last year. So again, they play lacrosse, they play soccer. They're very driven, but at the same time, they are also equally passionate in pursuing a degree in engineering, which is amazing. So they're in the lab, but they're also in the fields. They're playing hard. We're not a suitcase campus where, you know, our students don't, even though we do have a lot of students from New Jersey who come to Stevens, we don't really see our students going home on weekends, much to the dismay of some of our parents who are expecting them to be over more often. But again, having this location, and I think for a lot of our universities here, we have amazing, amazing campus life. And so our students are thriving. They are, you know, creating new clubs. They are jamming away. They are singing. They are dancing. They're performing. We know that as engineers, you're not just great at math and science. There are so many different aspects of you. You are creative. You are driven. You are entrepreneurial. So I think for a lot of our universities, you know, it really shows through our students being super active in a lot of different areas. We're not a school where our students are competitive with each other, which is really interesting and unique to see. It is a very, I'll say our curriculum, according to our students, it's not easy. It's quite challenging, but at the same time, our students are super supportive of each other. I think for all the diverse programs that each of our universities here offer, you know, there's really no room for competitiveness. I think our students are each driven and equally passionate in pursuing their different areas. So I think being in engineering is amazing. Studying engineering leads to really cool opportunities. Hopefully, you know, someone else can also chime in to demystify some of these, you know, myths that you may all have about engineering students.
I do have to chime in as a Big Ten school. There is a lot of focus on jumping around at a football game and sort of that lively campus culture. But you know, walking around some of our maker spaces this past summer, it was really cool to see a cross section of students there that, of course, were engineers. I mean, you had students working on more kind of that medical prosthetic lens, but then also we had students there running their own businesses. There's actually a young man who makes his own surfboards in the makerspace and he sells them. There is another person who 3D prints curtain attachments and sells them on campus. So although those may seem kind of mundane, there are students in those spaces who are complete and 100% in engineering, and there are some who are just, you know, signing up to use the space and doing engineering as a part of the portfolio of things that they like to do in their life. So it really is kind of, I call it our Avengers lab of students being able to just go and create and have fun and do their academics in a space that they love. So I think we can speak for all of us saying that there are a lot of spaces where our students get to interface with the campus community at large and spread that appreciation of engineering across campus.
Kind of reiterating that liberal arts programming at Union, our engineers are taking classes across the board. They're not only in their department. Our students in engineering are taking courses in arts and in women's and gender studies classes, languages. Our students are varsity athletes. They're traveling abroad. They're leaders of different clubs. My husband's favorite class in college was an art history course that was really challenging to him. So I think that's nice that they have exposure to the greater student body. They're in a lot of other classes. And I think it also allows our liberal arts students in the humanities to really have an opportunity to engage with some really creative, smart, and really gifted engineers as well. So there's a lot of collaboration at a place like Union when it's such a small campus. The community is really very, very cohesive, and we see engineering students all the time in the wild, in the dining halls, on the sports fields, across campus. So they aren't really isolated or within their own kind of world. And I think that's a benefit for students that are part of that program and students that are in the humanities and social sciences program too.
All right. Well, thank you. On behalf of the college counseling team at the Packer Collegiate Institute, I'd like to give a wonderful thank you to our wonderful colleagues and representatives from Union College, the University of Wisconsin-Madison, University of Rochester, Stevens Institute of Technology, University of Vermont, and Purdue University. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and giving us and sharing us this wonderful expertise with regards to engineering. Some closing notes for our families who are joining us tonight. This program has been recorded, and we will share the recording with your school's college counseling office, and then they will provide you access for tonight's recording so that if you like to rewatch this information, this wonderful information, you will have access to that. I see my colleague Lisa has unmuted, so I think we'll have some final closing announcements. Thank you. Lisa, go right ahead.
I had no idea I had unmuted, but thank you all for being here tonight. I think we can end the webinar portion, however it is that we do that. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.